Over 60? What if I told you that the way you start your day, the way you eat lunch, even something as simple as when you take your evening walk could be silently hardening your arteries right now? And what if I told you that 5 daily habits that seem totally harmless might be aging your heart faster than time itself? Today, we're not just talking about clogged arteries. We're diving into the sneaky everyday rituals that might be dragging your cardiovascular health into dangerous territory without you even noticing. Why are some people having heart attacks despite eating healthy? Could a morning ritual most people swear by be one of the silent culprits? And is one of the biggest myths about heart health the very thing that's making it worse? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll not only uncover what these habits are, but how to fix them starting today. And the best part? You don't need to give up your favorite foods or start running marathons. You just need to know the truth. Make sure you hit that subscribe button now, especially if you're over 60 and care about your health, because what you're about to discover could change how you think about aging forever. Let's start with something so routine that it's almost invisible. How often you sit. Now, I know, this one might seem like a no-brainer. Of course, sitting all day isn't great for you, right? But here's the real kicker. Studies have shown that prolonged sitting doesn't just slow down your metabolism, it literally alters the way blood flows through your arteries. When you stay seated for extended periods, the blood in your legs stagnates. It starts to pool, slowing the return flow to your heart. And gradually, this reduced circulation contributes to endothelial dysfunction. That's a fancy term for when your artery walls lose their ability to contract and expand. This dysfunction is one of the earliest markers of atherosclerosis, the silent, slow-building enemy behind heart attacks and strokes. And the worst part? You can't feel it happening. You won't know until something goes wrong. But just think. How many hours a day do you sit without even thinking about it? Watching TV, checking emails, driving, even just resting after a meal, all those little moments add up. Now imagine the toll that takes after decades of repetition. But here's the strange twist. It's not just sitting itself, it's how you interrupt it. If you take short standing breaks every 30 minutes, even for just 3 minutes, you dramatically improve blood flow and insulin sensitivity. This isn't just theory, it's been measured in clinical studies. In fact, one study published in the European Heart Journal found that light activity interspersed with sitting significantly reduced arterial stiffness. So what does this mean for you? It means that next time you're watching your favorite show or deep in a crossword puzzle, get up and just stretch or walk around the room. It could be one of the simplest ways to protect your arteries. It's not exercise. It's not a workout plan. It's just breaking the pattern. That's all. Now, let's talk about your breakfast. You've probably heard the old saying, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But what you haven't heard is that for many people over 60, the typical American breakfast may be the most dangerous meal of the day. Think about what that breakfast looks like for most of us. Toast, maybe a bowl of cereal, a muffin, some orange juice, maybe even pancakes on the weekend. Harmless, right? Comforting even. But every one of those items spikes your blood sugar like a firecracker, and your body responds with a surge of insulin. This flood of sugar and insulin damages the inner lining of your arteries over time, promoting inflammation and plaque buildup. And here's what most people don't realize. The damage starts long before your blood sugar becomes a problem on your lab tests. Your fasting glucose might still be normal, but if your body is experiencing these spikes day after day, meal after meal, your arteries are under attack in slow motion. And if you're thinking, well, I don't eat that much sugar, remember, it's not just about table sugar. It's about refined carbohydrates, white bread, instant oats, sweetened yogurts, and even fruit juices. All of these are essentially sugar bombs wearing disguises. A slice of white toast can spike your blood sugar almost as much as candy, especially if you're insulin resistant, a condition that affects over half of Americans over 60 and most don't even know they have it. And here's the curious part. Did you know that your arteries can heal, that damage can be reversed? But only if you stop repeating the injury. That's why switching to a breakfast higher in protein and healthy fats, like eggs with avocado or a handful of nuts with Greek yogurt, can help stabilize blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and support the repair of your vascular system over time. That one shift could buy your heart years. Now let's pivot to something even more subtle. How you deal with stress. You may think, I'm retired now, my life's slower, I don't stress that much. But chronic, low-level stress is one of the most underestimated threats to your heart, especially as you age. Cortisol, the hormone your body releases during stress, does more than just make you feel tense. It tightens your blood vessels, raises your blood pressure, and makes your heart work harder. Over time, it increases your risk of arterial plaque formation, and you don't need to feel panic or anxiety for this to happen. Ongoing mild worry, financial concerns, loneliness, especially among seniors, can all quietly elevate cortisol and sabotage your cardiovascular health. But here's the fascinating part. The way you breathe when you're stressed could either amplify the damage or reverse it. Ever notice how your breathing gets shallow when you're anxious? That shallow breathing reduces oxygen, increases carbon dioxide retention, and signals your nervous system to stay in a state of fight or flight. On the flip side, studies show that even 5 minutes of slow, deep, diaphragmatic breathing per day can reduce blood pressure and improve heart rate variability, a key marker of cardiovascular resilience. Isn't that incredible? Just changing. How you breathe can change the way your heart ages. And while we're on the subject of age, there's another invisible factor that matters more than most realize: muscle loss. It's not just about strength. As you get older, if you're not actively maintaining your muscle mass, your risk of cardiovascular problems skyrockets. Why? Because muscle acts as a metabolic engine. It helps regulate blood sugar, manage fat, and maintain insulin sensitivity. Less muscle means more fat accumulation, more insulin resistance, more inflammation, and yes, more plaque in your arteries. And it's not about lifting heavy weights or spending hours at the gym. Resistance training just twice a week, using resistance bands or light dumbbells, can preserve muscle, support your metabolism, and protect your arteries in the process. Now let's bring this into the kitchen again, because there's one more daily habit that's quietly ruining heart health across America, especially among older adults. And that's your cooking oil. Yes, the very oil you use to saute your vegetables, cook your eggs, or drizzle on your salad. Most of the common oils sold in supermarkets, canola, soybean, corn oil, are ultra-refined seed oils loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. Now, before you think, well, omega-6 is essential, isn't it? You're right, in moderation. But the modern diet has flipped the natural balance. Our ancestors ate omega-6 and omega-3 fats in about a 2.1 ratio. Today, thanks to seed oils, that ratio is more like 20.1. And guess what that imbalance does? It creates a chronic inflammatory environment inside your body, especially in your arteries. This inflammation triggers the immune system to respond. And over time, this constant activation leads to plaque buildup and narrowed arteries. So the solution? Switch to oils with a better fat profile, like extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or even coconut oil in moderation. And don't just switch. Check labels. Even healthy salad dressings or snack bars often contain these hidden inflammatory oils. You don't need to give up flavor or fun. You just need to make a small swap. Your arteries will thank you for it. And before we go on, ask yourself this: how many of these habits are you doing every single day without realizing they're impacting your heart? Because the truth is, once you know what's silently damaging your arteries, you can do something about it starting now. If you're over 50 and your joints ache when you get out of bed, go upstairs or just try to enjoy a walk. It's not your age and it's not your fault. The real issue? Your body's running out of a natural substance that cushions your joints like a shock absorber. And most supplements out there, glucosamine, collagen, all of it, don't fix this. But now, researchers have discovered a breakthrough that can actually restore what your joints are missing. And people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s are seeing real relief. If you're feeling stiff, sore, or weaker lately, stop guessing. Check the link in the pinned comment now. Let's pick up right where we left off, because we're just getting into the part that's going to make everything click. Now, imagine this. Every day, you wake up, stretch, maybe sip your coffee, and feel just fine. But inside, something completely silent is happening. Your arteries are inflamed, not because of some big dramatic health event, but because of little choices repeated daily, stacking like bricks in a wall that's slowly closing in. One of the most surprising contributors to this? Dehydration. Yep, just not drinking enough water. And you might be thinking, come on, I drink when I'm thirsty. But here's the deal. By the time you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. As we age, our sense of thirst gets duller. It's like a faulty gas gauge. You might think you've got a full tank, but you're actually running on empty. And when you're dehydrated, your blood thickens. Your heart has to pump harder to move it, increasing blood pressure and stressing the arterial walls. Over time, that stress wears down the endothelium, that delicate inner lining of your arteries, making it easier for plaque to stick. Think of it like a stream running through a narrow canyon. When the water level is high, it flows smoothly. But when it's low, it drags against the rocks, carving into the walls. That's your blood on low hydration. Slow, sticky, and damaging. But here's a trick. Don't wait for thirst. Build hydration into your routine. Drink a full glass of water first thing when you wake up, before coffee. Sip steadily throughout the day, not in big gulps. And add a pinch of sea salt to your water once a day to improve absorption if you're over 60 and your kidneys don't balance fluids as efficiently anymore. It's simple, effective, and it's like giving your cardiovascular system a mini tune-up every single day. Now, I want you to think back to the last time you ate something and felt tired afterward. That post-meal sluggishness, it's not just because you had a heavy lunch. It's often a warning sign, your body struggling to manage blood sugar and redirect energy. And that sluggishness isn't harmless. It's connected to how your metabolism functions and ultimately how your arteries age. Because every time your body has to overproduce insulin to deal with those high sugar or high carb meals, it creates oxidative stress, tiny bursts of cellular damage that contribute to plaque buildup over time. The damage is microscopic, but relentless. Think rust on a pipe. Not noticeable at first, but slowly and surely it builds. And here's where the curiosity spikes, because most people assume it's all about cholesterol, right? But here's what you're almost never told. Nearly 50% of people who have heart attacks have normal cholesterol levels. That's right, normal. So what's going on? It turns out the real issue isn't cholesterol itself. It's what the cholesterol is doing. Specifically, it's when LDL cholesterol becomes oxidized. That means it's been damaged by inflammation or free radicals, often caused by high blood sugar, smoking, stress, or, you guessed it, poor diet choices. Oxidized LDL is sticky. It's the kind that clings to the damaged walls of your arteries and starts to form those dangerous plaques. And yes, even normal cholesterol can become dangerous in the wrong environment. So if you're laser-focused on your cholesterol numbers, but ignoring inflammation and sugar intake, you're missing the full picture. What matters more is what kind of environment you're creating inside your body. If you eat antioxidant-rich foods like colorful vegetables, berries, leafy greens, and omega-3 rich fish, while minimizing sugar and processed oils, you dramatically reduce the oxidation of cholesterol. It's like coating your pipes in Teflon instead of rust. Now let's dig into something more psychological, because your beliefs around food are just as important as what's on your plate. Most of us grew up with the idea that fat is bad, cholesterol is evil, and the best way to eat healthy is to keep everything low fat. Sound familiar? But here's what's wild. This decades-old advice has actually caused more harm than good. When fat was demonized, food manufacturers didn't just remove fat, they replaced it with sugar, starches, and additives. Suddenly, low-fat foods became high-carb, highly processed sugar bombs. We were told it was healthy, and millions of people over 60 followed that advice faithfully. But instead of reducing heart disease, rates skyrocketed. This isn't theory, it's history. After low-fat guidelines were introduced in the 1980s, obesity and type 2 diabetes soared. And now, researchers are finally admitting that we got it wrong. Healthy fats, like those in nuts, seeds, olives, and fish, actually protect your arteries. They reduce inflammation, they support hormone balance, and they help your cells function the way they were designed to. Meanwhile, low-fat, high-carb diets often do the opposite. They increase insulin resistance, spike triglycerides, and raise your risk of heart disease. And speaking of fish, here's a little-known fact. Omega-3s aren't just helpful for your heart, they're essential. In fact, studies show that people with the highest omega-3 blood levels have significantly lower risk of fatal heart attacks. That's huge, And yet, most Americans, especially seniors, aren't getting enough. So what do? Aim for fatty fish like salmon or sardines at least twice a week. Or talk to your doctor about supplementing with high-quality fish oil. It's one of the simplest, safest ways to fortify your arteries against inflammation and aging. Now, I want to circle back to something I asked earlier. Why do some people have heart attacks despite doing everything right? The answer lies in how we define right. Because if right means eating whole-grain cereal every morning, skipping eggs because of cholesterol, snacking on granola bars, and cooking with canola oil, then we're not doing it right. We're following outdated advice. But when you understand the real science behind cardiovascular aging, everything changes. You start making small, intentional changes that align with how your body actually works, not with food industry marketing or old myths. And when you do that, you feel it. Your energy improves. Your blood pressure stabilizes, you sleep better, your brain feels sharper, and yes, your heart and arteries begin to heal. So let me ask you, what if you could make just one change today? Would it be switching out your breakfast, adding movement to your sitting time, swapping your oil, drinking more water? Because even one shift could break the pattern. And once you break one pattern, the others get easier. You don't need a full overhaul. You need momentum. You need one small win to remind you that your body still listens, that it still wants to heal, and that your best years, your strongest years, might still be ahead. If this video helped you rethink just one daily habit, imagine how much more you could learn in the next one. Don't stop now. Tap the video on your screen and discover what else might be quietly damaging your health. Because when you know the truth, you get your power back. And that, more than anything, is how we age on our terms.